Okay, so now since you've started on that trig graphing worksheet letter B, I wanted to go through a couple examples of it, things that I thought you might find to be a little challenging. The first one is question number 2. I would ask that you rewrite that one since there's a 3 out front, and I would have you rewrite it as -2 cosine of 1/4 theta minus pi plus that 3 that was originally out front, that positive 3. And so the amplitude is 2 because it's positive. Our vertical shift is 3. The period, we're using radians, so I'm going to take 2 pi radians and I'm going to divide it by that 1/4 that's out front here. Well, when you divide a fraction, you always multiply by the reciprocal, so I end up with 8 pi. The phase shift is whatever makes what's inside the parentheses equal to 0. So 1/4 theta minus pi, set that equal to 0 and solve for theta. So 1/4 theta equals positive pi. I just added that to both sides. Multiply by 4/1. And I get that theta equals a positive 4 pi. Okay, so this example here is a cosine graph. I see that the amplitude is 1/4. The vertical shift is 3. And this here is the same thing as 1/3 x. We're going ahead and using degrees in this problem, so our period is going to be 360 divided by 1/3, which means I take 360 and multiply it by 3, which is 1,080 for the period. And there's no phase shift. So, I'm going to extend this up here. So I have 1, 2, 3, and I'll bring it up even up to 4. My midline is at 3. I know that 1/4 above and 1/4 below is going to be the amplitude. Again, there's no phase shift, so I can go ahead and make my 4 marks. This is 1,080. Half of that is 540. This would be 270, and this would be 810. This is an upside down cosine graph because of the negative out front, and normally cosine starts up top, goes to the middle, goes to the bottom, but in this case it's then going to start at the bottom, go to the middle, go to the top, to the middle, and then to the bottom. So this is an upside down cosine graph with a period of 1,080, and I got shifted up 3 units. This one here, number 10, if you notice that 2 is already factored out. So I'm first going to go ahead and rewrite it like we had to do the other one. So I get y equals 3 cosine, this bracket is just like a parenthesis, 2x minus pi over 4, and then minus that 4 that they had out front. That's my vertical shift. And when I go ahead and do this, it looks like the amplitude is positive 3. The vertical shift is negative 4. I'm using radians, so the period is 2 pi divided by 2, because that's this number here. So the period is 1 pi. And the phase shift, because this is already factored out here, the phase shift is just positive pi over 4. So let's go ahead and make our 4 notches. We're going out to 1 pi. So this is 1 pi, pi over 2. This is 1/4 of a pi. 3 pi over 4. The if I extend this out one more notch, this would be 1 1/4 pi, or 5 pi over 4. And that's important because I went to the right 1/4 pi in my phase shift, so I needed to add on an extra one at the end. Okay, the vertical shift is -4, so that means I want to make sure I go all the way down 1, 2, 3, 4 to -4, and the amplitude is 3, so I know that even though this is my midline, this graph is going to go as high as this, and as low as -7. That's going to be its lowest point. Let's see, we have a cosine graph. It's an upside right cosine graph that does get shifted pi over 4, so we can go ahead and start top, middle, bottom, middle, top, and since we shift each one of those to the right pi over 4, we'll do this, and then go ahead and complete that curve, etc. Okay, so complete the graphing worksheet letter B for tomorrow. Please be prepared to turn in the A and the B tomorrow. And then we will go ahead and dive into the secant and cosecant, tangent and cotangent graphs when you return.